I'm Bronwen Harding. I'm the director of Rogue Opera, which is a small touring opera company. I'm a mezzo-soprano opera singer, which means I sing in the middle range of the soprano voice, and I create touring productions in a compact way to bring opera out of big theatres into places where people might not have experienced it before, like pub gardens, into community centres, into schools, into stately homes, anywhere where people think you couldn't possibly put an opera on there. That's where Rogue Opera is going to be. The name Rogue Opera came about when I first started busking on the Underground. So I was working full-time as a marketing manager in the city, but I had this yearning to sing again, and I heard about the scheme on the Underground where you could audition to be a busker. And I was successful in that audition, and I thought, well, this is a really strange thing to be doing with opera, standing on a platform in the London Underground. So the idea of Rogue kind of grew from that, and also the fact that Rogue is something a little bit different, someone who does things with a little bit of a mischievous tint or just unusual, which is really what I think Rogue Opera is compared to what you would find in one of the great opera houses around the world. To take an art form like opera that can be seen as very traditional into spaces where Rogue Opera loves to be, which is pub gardens, community centres, places where people might not have ever experienced opera before, I like to reimagine the stories. So I write a new English script, keeping the essence of the original story and keeping a lot of the original music, but the scripts give me a freedom to update. So we can have jokes that are referencing current political situations, for example, or we can use language that's just much more accessible to people. So if you went to a very traditional opera production, you might see people in 18th century dress and they're only singing in the original language. But if you come to a Rogue Opera production, you'll get the music in the original language, but you'll find something quite modern to link into that story and to give people who don't have access to that wealth of history about the tradition of opera a direct line into the drama and the music. I've always enjoyed classical music. I've always enjoyed opera. My parents brought me to many operas when I was young. I was probably 10 years old when I went to my first opera in Adelaide at the South Australian Opera. I was also a bit of a square, so we didn't have a TV, and I really had no other choice other than to read books, listen to classical music, talk about music and art and literature with my parents. So it was a really, I guess, square upbringing, but also a really fantastic upbringing. And my parents were also fantastic in that they encouraged me to learn whatever instrument I wanted. So I learned the cello, I learned the viola, I learned the Baroque recorder, I learned the piano, but the thing that really stuck was singing. So I started having singing lessons when I was probably about 7 or 8. So singing had always been a huge part of my life. But if I hadn't had that exposure as a child, I don't think I would have come to it really. So it's also one of my missions is to give people the opportunity who don't have parents who are into classical music or weren't brought up in a choral tradition where they've been exposed to the power of the human voice in this different way from pop music. And that's something that's really important to me, to give people that opportunity to feel as inspired as I am by opera. And it's not just about the music, it's the fact that it's drama. I know opera really reaches into the heart of human emotion. So much like art can, everyone can look at a painting and have a different reaction to it, but you're looking at the same painting. Music brings people together like that as well, and particularly opera, where you have these heightened dramas and heightened emotions and the heightened music to go with it. It gives people a way into big dramatic stories and also really quite serious issues, as well as a lot of comedy through this universal language of music. It's amazing being up on the stage. I wouldn't do this, I don't think any of us would do this if we didn't love that thrill of being a performer. And the thrill is inhabiting those characters, telling these amazing stories, getting to perform this amazing music, but also feeling that interaction from the audience. And that's another reason I'm really went down this route. It's another reason I'm really excited about what I do with Rogue Opera, because everything's in a very intimate space. If you go to the Royal Opera House, you'll see a fantastic production with a huge chorus, a big orchestra, very impressive sets, but you're very distant from the action. Even in the very expensive seats, there's a certain distance from you. With a Rogue Opera show, you're in a pub garden, your first row of the audience is maybe 1 metre, 2 metres from the stage. And so there's a fantastic synergy between the audience and the performers that you don't get as much in a big theatre. What I love about what I do is bringing together a wonderful group of people. And when we're doing something in such a small, compact way as we do with Rogue Opera, everybody on stage is a star. There's no supporting roles. Everybody's equally important as everyone else, and the people behind the scenes, the creative team, the crew that help us, get in and out of these pub gardens, everyone goes together to make this very exciting and fulfilling performance happen. And it's a joy to work with people, and I'm constantly in awe of the talent that people bring and the dedication that they bring, and the fun we have as well. It is a lot of fun. I hope that when people go away from a Rogue Opera performance, they're filled with this fizzing excitement. There's a bit of an earworm of a tune they never knew before, but it's now going to haunt them for the next few weeks, and they might be humming the Toreador chorus from Carmen without even knowing it, and really have this sense of, wow, I discovered something that I wasn't expecting. I've discovered something that I'd like to know more about. I've discovered something that was fun, was exciting, it was moving, it was dramatic. And also I've discovered something that I'd like to come back and see again.